What's your greatest internet accomplishment? I made a bootleg comic book site back in the 90s. I used GeoCities and used each registration to host one comic book, then used another one to link them all together. I scanned all the comics from my collection. I even had an HTML template with the page numbers embedded so I would upload the same site with images. That's not the accomplishment part. I had a PHP BB forum for conversation and requests with a few thousand members. 2 members met there and got married from it. I think they lived in different countries too. That was cool. The rest was a waste of time, I guess. Well, they met because of you, that's a good thing. My name is on Microsoft TechNet as a researcher acknowledgement because I found a pretty serious vulnerability in Skype. I started a joke thread on the official forum of a video game back in 2008. It was just something whimsical and satirical that I didn't think too much about at the time, but it absolutely exploded. Not only did it get about 50 pages of responses, but once it died it would get rebumped every few months, at the end of every season of the game. I quit the game about 6 months later, but some years later I came across the link to the thread and I clicked on it. It turned out the post lived on and carried on getting bumped and generating a ton of responses all the way until the game eventually died in 2014, which you would think would be the end of it. But I found out some years later that the game ended up having a sequel, and some of the players from the original game recreated the original thread on the new games forum and it was still generating traffic. There are probably people commenting on it who weren't even born when the thread was originally posted. I changed my school district's Wikipedia page. I created a section titled Notable Alumni. I was a US senator for 6 months before they caught on. I even made a campaign website as a corroborating source. Haha, this is amazing. I don't want to brag, but around 2003 one of my comments on the adultswim.com forums was played on a bumper during programming. Damn, flex on me like that. NASA follows my Tumblr, which I use to post photos of dogs I meet in the streets. I'm not even from the US. Dogsinthestreettumblr.com. Of course they just follow your Tumblr for scientific purposes. Seriously though, I wonder why one of the admins followed a dog Tumblr. Someone threatened a school shooting on WoW forums about 12 or 13 years ago, and I saw it right when it was posted. I managed to figure out where the guy was and alerted the proper authorities. The threat had merit and the guy got busted. I got a thank you from the cops. I did have help from a local newspaper reporter in his area, mainly help with properly notifying the right people. All I did was talk to the guy and tried to relate to him. He flat out told me what town he was in and I just made a few phone calls. I couldn't get any traction, so I sent a message to a local newspaper, on the advice of someone else. The reporter reached out to me and then he ran with it. In terms of law enforcement, I don't know exactly what happened after that, but I had an email thanking me for the heads ups from the PD. I never really thought much of it at the time. I just did what all of us would do. Looking back, I think the guy who made the threat was obviously looking for attention, but I think he needed help. I don't understand psychology. Heck, I don't even understand myself, but I think he needed help and that was his way of asking. He gave me all the info I needed to do what I did. I'm no hero. Dude, you're a hero. Establishing a creative writing group that lasted about 10 years. There are still active friendships between members, but the creative writing part has been dropped due to various factors. This sounds like community. I joined a Minecraft server back in 2012 which had a clan system, but there was only one clan and it had about 40 people in it because every other clan was immediately squashed by them. Myself, my cousin, and one friend completely overthrew them and cemented ourselves as leaders of the server for probably the next year after that. I came back like 2 years later and people would be like, holy crap, you're the Trick Daddy Red? I've heard stories about your clan. That's amazing, lol. My husband has been on Reddit for years. He finally convinced me to get it, and I bet him within the first 2 weeks I would exceed his 1200 karma. On the 13th day I made a comment that got over 27k upvotes that put me at 10k karma. He was in utter disbelief sitting beside me watching the comment grow and reach top comments, haha. I still don't know what karma is and what is good bad. I found Minecraft very early in development thanks to a browser add-on called StumbleUpon that put a random website button on your bar. I've been playing almost since the game went public and dev stage thanks to it. I'm not sure if that qualifies as an accomplishment or not. I would consider it. I wouldn't imagine many people being able to say that, so that's definitely bragging rights. A few years ago I was playing some random game on the computer called Crunker.io. I was playing so good that the #1 clan in that game invited me. I also forgot to add that almost every time I played I would get accused of hacking because I was that good with the sniper. I don't play anymore since the new updates made it just feel weird, and I don't think the clan exists anymore. It was called Opal. Hey, that game isn't bad, it's actually kinda fun. A guy DM'd me about an old comment I made on another account about parenting. Said he looked at it from time to time when he felt like he needed guidance as a new dad. It was the sweetest thing. One time I apparently made someone pee outside of the bowl because they were laughing at a comment. The comment was one word, and it made my day. Got a bunch of awards and words of encouragement a few months ago for an angsty dump poem I posted. If I had to pick the one I'm proudest of, it's definitely the one on top. The second is a toss-up. I created the original Captain Phillips I am the captain now meme in high school 6 years ago. It got big enough to be stolen by Dory all those other dang accounts. I ended up deleting the tweet because I hated comment notifications, since it got around 20k of each interaction. That was the biggest mistake to date because now no one believes that I created it besides a few classmates I don't speak to anymore. SMH. Original caption. When you're in a group project with unreliable people, I'll believe you. Original caption is even funnier. Thanks to PSN I knew so many new friends. I was also able to help one of his friends, who is paraplegic, to get better at Destiny 2. In November he didn't know that much about this game, and a week ago he was able to complete 2 raids, 6 players activity, with us. Hey man, that's freaking awesome. Keep at it, friend. I love guiding people through raids with my friends. The CEO of Gibson Guitars personally insulted me on the Gibson forum when I asked a genuine and reasonable question about their sales and supplying practices. I got David Barton, crazy Christian nationalist that at least used to screw up Texas school books, to publish an article about how I was what was wrong with the youth in America. I went to a fundamentalist college and was a Christian at the time when everyone at my school was excited by his website. I think it was called Wallbuilders. He wrote this article insulting people who didn't think the US was founded intentionally to only ever be for Christians. I responded with a 7-page source paper on how most of us now wouldn't consider the founding fathers real Christians, and that while some likely wanted a Christian nation, others were vocally against it, so making the argument on intention would necessitate cherry picking who you cite. I also referenced how his extra sources he cites are dubious as he won't let anyone verify their authenticity. My core argument was just that we don't know what they overall wanted, and since they didn't explicitly make the US a theocracy, it seems weird to take 2-3 founding fathers and apply their beliefs to all of them. For this he made a post talking about how 19-year-old user Freedom was literally what's wrong with the youth in America, and also was an idiot and also secular humanist scum. This is my favorite accomplishment so far. I've had a couple celebrities like my comment tweets, the biggest being Ariana Grande. I don't know why. I'm not that interesting. You clearly are. I played an online game called B3 Yondivo, which was sort of a turn-based game in a browser where you were a character and you bought items and leveled up your character and could fight in the dungeons and whatnot. They introduced a new mechanic where you could buy and breed scorpions and sick them on people. Scorpions had to be regularly fed and watered, and it wasn't feasible to manage more than a handful of them because you had to press the feed button, then select the scorpion you wanted to feed, then press a button confirm, and had to be fed a couple of times every day and watered a couple of times as well. Well, I found out that when you executed it, it just made the web request like b3com scorpions feed equals 1. So I made an Excel spreadsheet with hundreds and hundreds of lines of this, and similar lines for watering them and for breeding them. Then I could save it as a .html file and open it in my browser. Using a browser extension I already had, I could highlight groups of links and open them, feeding and watering all the scorpions in a matter of seconds. Within a couple of days I had maybe 4,000 scorpions. I waited for someone to pee me off and sent 1,000 scorpions after him. Every time the player made any move, he would have a scorpion encounter. Go to the dungeon? Scorpion. Visit the fortune teller? Scorpion. Use a potion to get out of the hospital that the scorpion put you into? Scorpion. The guy literally shut down the game not long after that. A few months later he tried to bring it back, and in the middle of the EULA there was a paragraph that he clearly wrote himself saying like every click must be made by a human and can't be made by a browser add-on or crafted in any other way XD. I waited for someone to pee me off and sent 1,000 scorpions after him. Remind me not to ever annoy this dude. Not entirely via internet, but I met a couple members from my favorite band in a bar and they invited me to their table. I asked the lead singer if he would follow me on Instagram and he did instantly, and we chat every once in a while. One Grey Days followed me on Instagram for a while. It was after I posted a Linkin Park mashup in honor of Chester Bennington. He was the singer for Grey Days until they broke up in 1999. Then he went on to join Linkin Park. Him and Grey Days had been talking about reuniting shortly before his suicide in 2017. 2. Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park liked a vocal part I submitted when he asked for fans to sing on one of his songs. I cried on both of these days. I'm a moderator of the Evil Dead Wiki. Tons of information I've added to articles over the 4 or 5 years I've been at it has started recently appearing in officially licensed merchandise, mainly the comics and prop replicas, directly copied and pasted from the site. It's been pretty surreal for me as a fan of the franchise to see how something I started doing out of boredom one summer has started having an impact on how people treat the mythology of the series. If we count online gaming, I got the world first mage solo of a Mists of Pandaria World of Warcraft raid boss. It was the Star Dragon. It was killable almost as soon as the next expansion launched, provided you took the correct equipment. The stamina buff scroll was very important. I wrote a Bull's white paper how to back in 98 or 99, while still in high school, on how to install Linux on a particular Dell laptop. You're all kids laugh, but 40 years olds know what I'm talking about. Crap took weeks of fiddling to get work. Some dude who worked for a small IT consulting company found it and reached out with questions. I helped him. He offered me a help desk position at his company. I quit my job at Kmart and commuted to NYC for work that summer. College time came, but I'd already established myself as the kid who can do anything IT. So they were using me on big projects like pen testing banks. They offered me $65K plus bonuses for certifications. They were a VAR for many vendors. I told mom and dad I wasn't going to college for music, tuba performance. I'm 38 and my badge says NASA and I have 20 PhDs under me. I'd say that stupid paper on how to install Linux on a laptop was my greatest internet accomplishment. Getting straight A's on difficult courses I would have otherwise failed if the pandemic didn't push for online education. Yes, LMAO. The only reason I didn't fail math last semester was because of coronavirus. This is kind of the opposite, but my friends and I used to play CS GO religiously. They thought it would be funny to constantly report me for toxicity. To this day, the only way someone can talk to me through the game is to unmute me, like the game has me automatically muted. LOL. I played Minecraft when I was younger and joined a server where I met someone I've now known online for around 8-9 years. We managed to trick some kid we were the internet police and had reason to believe he was hacking. We ended up getting his dad on the microphone and trying to explain that we believed his son was cheating. He replied, "I'm Sergeant something something with the New Jersey Police Department," and we immediately left the call scared AF. Looking back, smart guy. I did the cartoon about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Someone posted it here on Reddit and Arnie saw it. He liked it and complimented me on it. This is also the reason I joined Reddit in the first place. I didn't really know what it was about until that happened. A friend's last name is Klotz. Me and another friend started a campaign in the late 90s to turn his last name into a synonym for loser. We used it whenever we could. The friend helping to spread this was a corporate trainer, so he used it in front of people from all over the country. At some point I checked Urban Dictionary and it was on there. I paid to play a game. Not sure I'm allowed to say it, on 2 occasions. It is totally free to play, but unless you're a genius or have no job and never sleep, you pay for guns, ammo, mining tools, ships, mind implants, etc. And any loot you get is worth real money on a fixed exchange rate with the US dollar. Well, I used to invest around £100 to £200 a month. I was single at the time and lived at home. During that time I had 2 big loots, worth roughly $4k each, real money, 40k game money. I reinvested some but wanted to move out, so I sold everything bar my actual character and ended up with over £4,500 in total after conversion. A few months later and the money was in my bank and I used it as a 5% deposit on a mortgage for a flat that I now own. Fun and monies. I set up a network of clans on Clash of Clans. At our best, I was leading over 80 people in the top 200 of the Netherlands. I have a story on my profile here about how I was stalked by the same man that stalked my mother. I got some messages from podcast owners asking for my permission to read it, and I was so excited. I waited all week and kept checking Spotify for it, and when I saw they had a new episode my story wasn't in it. I was really disappointed, but happy I got an offer. A 700k sub YouTuber casually asked me on Reddit in a PM to moderate one of his premieres. I'm staff in multiple pretty huge Discord servers and I've had direct contact with multiple big famous artist YouTubers, and I have 2 followers on Reddit. I found a comic I posted in a website referenced in a girl's blog about her struggle with diabetes. It was pretty heartwarming to see that, given it is the one and only comic I've ever written. I'm an economist. A thesis on a hypothesis called dual-dimensional fluid origin, and a meme on our mini lad using the arrow to mini guards. Bruh, that hypothesis is awesome, but since I'm a lazy butt, I didn't read it entirely, but the way you explained the birth of particles and quarks, the concept of gravity, I was just amazed. I got 800 upvotes on an extremely niche post on an extremely niche subreddit once. That's it. Also, I changed someone's mind on abortion rights. Was one of the first 50 people worldwide to finish the original Diablo 3 Hardcore Inferno. Also was the second best geared tank on my server for quite some time in WoW Wattle and Kata. I attained 2,000 plus subscribers on my Club Penguin focused YouTube channel as a kid, back in 2009, when 2,000 subscribers was a pretty high amount. I used to think people didn't want to be my friend, but when I opened an Instagram account I got 30 follow requests on the first day. That was overwhelming. Said yes to everything a scammer asked me yesterday. I'll try my best to reenact the conversation. Me: hello, scammer. Hi, I am calling to help you resolve your debt on a credit card. Me: yeah, I do have debt. Scammer: and what is the PIN number on this credit card so I get the right one? Me: yes. Scammer: sir, the PIN? Me: yes. Scammer: I am asking you nicely to please state the PIN number of the credit card that has debt. Me: yes. Aggravated scammer: your mom is a bee? Me: yes. Aggravated scammer. Hangs up. Had my friends laughing. Not my proudest thing, but really wanted to tell someone, so enjoy. My best friend hates Linkin Park. One morning in college, I woke up and messaged quite a few mutual friends to please message him something about Linkin Park image, video, comment, and then I forgot. Apparently he woke up to easily 100 plus notifications. Everyone had sent this to other mutual friends and then other strangers chimes in as well. This guy had so many messages of "Hey, I heard you love LP, so I thought I'd send you this." One friend was a photography editor and edited his face into multiple photos as the lead singer. It was talked about for so long and I brought it up as best man at his wedding last year. I have 150k followers on Tumblr because I make pop phone wallpapers. Literally just crop pictures to the correct 9:16 ratio facepalm. I once played WoW during Christmas and started a Christmas parade that circled Old Orgrimmar. At its peak, I was able to follow the back of the parade and most people were on reindeer mounts following each other at RP walking pace. Technically my most famous internet thing is actually a Hearthstone highlight on the Hearthstone subreddit, but the Christmas parade always makes me laugh when I think about the hour or two I spent on Christmas starting a thing I hadn't yet seen. Getting my YT comment a heart from a YouTuber whose content I liked and whose content I still watch. Very small but my greatest internet moment. Alright, so, during Hurricane Harvey I posted a Snapchat to the Our Story so that everyone could see it. It was hundreds of cockroaches escaping from the floodwaters in Houston. I deleted it from my own story BC I was like this is dumb and I hated the sound of my voice in the video. Well it stayed on the Our Story and got 1.2 M views. My biggest internet accomplishment and I didn't even save the video as proof. And my 10 seconds of fame was due to roaches. Oh, just remembered. A few years ago Aaron Carter followed me back on Twitter. Childhood crush. Not adulthood crush though. I draw actors. For fun. And if they come to a local convention, I'll get some of those drawings signed. Those drawings get framed and hung up on my wall. I also try tagging them on IG so they can see. While my favorite actor doesn't have IG, his wife does. And one day, she actually favorited both drawings. I didn't know it was her at first. So, even though I'll probably never meet him in reality, he at least saw my work. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.